Hello, internets, and welcome to another Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle. You can call me 12 Pack, and the battle I have for you today is against somebody called Phantom Star? It can't be Phantom Shiny. So, Phantom Star, yeah, Phantom Star. Alright, anyway, no real history against this particular opponent, but there is a little bit of history behind the team I'm using. So, without further ado, we'll hop right into team preview and I'll tell you all about it. So, my team. I'm using a team I specifically designed to support my Beartic and Tropius, which honestly are both pretty terrible Pokemon by themselves. They're bad, basically. They're very bad. Especially since I'm using sets on them that aren't actually considered to be the best by the competitive community. But they were the sets I wanted to use, so I'm trying my best to make them work with a team I have built specifically to support them as much as possible. And this is actually the second battle I've had with this team, except I replaced one Mon from the first. So, first off here, we've got my Mantine, which in addition to being my specially defensive wall and defogger, it's also rocking the Tailwind there to set up some extra speed for my Beartic in conjunction with my Leavanny, which is in the second slot on the team, and I'm also using Sticky Web. So between the combination of Tailwind and Sticky Web, hopefully Beartic might be able to outspeed something because his speed is abysmal at base 50. Now, as for Beartic, the way you're supposed to use him is on a rain team, since he does actually get Swift Swim, and that's about his only useful ability. But I don't really like using weather teams, and me being the masochist that I am, I decided to try to use Beartic with just a few speed boosts. I could have gone the easy route and just used Ninjask or something and Baton Pass to him, but I'm not really about that life, so I'm going to try using Tailwind and Sticky Webs to make things work. However, this is the Smogon Beartic set that is supposed to go with Swift Swim. I've got, well, actually, instead of Icicle Crash, I'm using Avalanche just on the off chance that I come in with full HP, get outsped by something, then I can retaliate with Avalanche and do double damage, which is nice. And then I got Aqua Jet for a bit of priority, Superpower to hit Steel and Rock types, and then Swords Dance if by some miracle I'm able to get that off. And I'm also using Focus Sash here so that I can survive any one hit, assuming there aren't any hazards, and then retaliate. So next up here we got my Tropius. Now Tropius honestly is a pretty bad mon. Uh, I'm not using the standard Tropius set though, if there even is such a thing. I'm using a Resto Chesto Tropius with Curse. And I essentially get infinite Chesto Berries thanks to that Harvest ability. So I've got max HP, max Sped F. Body Slam is my attack. I decided not to use a stab move because I wanted Body Slam's chance to paralyze. So if by some miracle I can get that off, maybe I'll outspeed something after a few curse boosts. And yeah, then obviously Rest, Sleep Talk, and Curse. So next up on the team here, we've got my Regirock, which is actually a sub-in from last battle. Last game I was using Choice Banded Aggron, and he proved to be altogether too powerful as he killed two-thirds of my opponent's team. So I actually opted to go with Regirock this game. And this is a set I made up myself. Somebody else has probably thought of it, but this is Assault Vest Regirock with max HP and max special defense. Drain Punch, Power Up Punch, Stone Edge, and Ice Punch. The idea here is to come in, eat up a few attacks, boost your HP, or sorry, your attack up with Power Up Punch, and then regain any HP you lose with Drain Punch. And it's actually pretty effective. Next and last on the team here, we've got the unexpected star of the show, my Swalot, who goes above and beyond any expectations I had for him this game. I'm not going to tell you his moveset now, you'll have to wait to see in game. But his purpose here on the team was to be that fighting resistance that both Beartic and Regirock are weak to. So quickly we'll go over my opponent's team here. He's got everything from UU and OU, with the exception of Braviary, which I think is in actually RU. So next to Braviary we've got Goodra, then Florges, then Charizard, which is going to be his Mega, Skarmory, which is always annoying, and Weavile, which is always pretty dangerous. So without further ado now, let's get into this game. I have opted not to turn on battle animations because this is a very long game and it would take forever to record if I had them on. So I'm sorry about that, but stay tuned to the end because this is something special in this one, I think. All right.
Phantom Stars is doing a challenge.
So he's going to lead off with the Weavile here, as I'm going to lead with my Mantine. I wasn't really sure what he wanted to lead with, so I just figured I'd chuck out Mantine and hopefully get off Tailwind against something, but I'm not going to want to be in against Weavile. So I'm going to swap out into my Swalot here, which I forgot to mention is also here in his capacity as a knockoff absorber, since thanks to Sticky Hold, I can never lose my item, and if you combine that with Rocky Helmet, it can be very frustrating for my opponent. So he's going to withdraw right away here, realizing he can't really touch me. I saw he lost some HP from Life Orbs, so obviously that's what he's carrying. And I predicted the switch, so I went for a Yawn. Now Skarmory is going to trade Falling Asleep for getting up his Stealth Rocks, which I'm not really 100% sure I agree with that play, but then again, Swalot can't actually touch Skarmory, since my only attack is a Poison-type move, so I'm going to swap out into Mantine here, and go for a few Scalds, see if I can't get maybe a 3-hit KO on this thing, just kind of see how this Skarmory is built here, but first I'm going to set up the Tailwind on the chance he wakes up, then I'll still outspeed him and potentially get the burn before he retaliates, so Scald away here. That does somewhere between a quarter and a third, not really apparent yet whether or not it's going to be a 3-hit KO, but he seems to think it is, so he's going to withdraw and go out into Goodra, which I'm not going to be able to touch whatsoever due to him resisting Scald, and Air Slash won't do anything to him either, really. So I'm going to go for the Defog here, get rid of the rocks. That was actually a very risky play, as he might have Thunder Beamed me, but instead he actually went for the double team. So what the hell kind of Goodra set is this? And I know I just said Thunder Beam, but I meant Thunderbolt, my bad. Anyway, so I'm going to swap out here, try to bait out that Thunderbolt, and sure enough, he does actually go for it this turn, and my Leavanny takes it. And I'm going to swap yet again, try to see what all the attacks this thing is carrying, since because he has Double Team, I'm not sure what sort of set this is. So sure enough, he goes for Flamethrower, so I'm thinking, okay, it must just be the standard Assault Vest moves, only he's using Double Team in place of one of them. So he shouldn't have anything to touch Regirock. So I'm going to stay in here, just to start spamming power-up punches while he goes for Double Teams over and over again, which is very frustrating, but so far I've landed, what is this, 2 out of 3 power-up punches, so he's now in KO range from an Ice Punch, which I very fortunately connect after he got off 4 double teams there, so that was one potential problem out of the way, but I have faith that he wouldn't really have been able to win a 1v1 against my Regirock in the long run. So Weavile's going to come in here, go for the low kick, does a sizable amount of damage to me, but I survive thanks to my disgusting defense stat. And then I'm just going to retaliate with the quad effect of Drain Punch, get back a decent chunk of HP that he just took from me, and get rid of the Weavile just like that. So not so bad. Now Braviary is going to come in. This thing, I'm kind of expecting a superpower, but I'm confident I can take it, so I'm going to stay in. But he decides to actually just U-turn out, take a little bit of my HP and give himself some switch initiative, and go out into that Skarmory, which is still asleep. I had gone for the Stone Edge, but he wakes up turn 1 and then goes for Roost. Very rare to see a turn 1 wake up. I think it's like a 20% chance or something. And that turn I had gone for the, what did I use there? The Drain Punch? Yeah, so I went for Drain Punch, and now I'm trying to get my attack up a little bit so I can see if the difference of HP I lose from Rocky Helmet is greater than the amount of HP I get back from Drain Punch. And it turns out that it actually is, and this turn I would have swapped, but he saves me the trouble and actually goes for the Whirlwind, bringing in what I would have switched into anyway, which is actually my Beartic. And that, since there's no rocks up, I'm free to set up Swords Dance at full HP, knowing I can survive any one hit this thing wants to go for, and he set up his rocks and went for Roost while I said that. This turn I went for Avalanche, foolishly thinking that it was neutral, but he actually resisted. And I'm just going to go straight for the superpower this turn, do a decent amount of damage, and I don't know if you noticed, but we seem to be in a speed tie. I'm Adamant Nature with max speed, yet we're alternating who gets to go first from turn to turn, so that's kind of weird how that works. This turn, not wanting to risk him outspeeding me in that speed tie, I went for the Aqua Jet, finished him off, but unfortunately I died in the exchange, thanks to the helmet damage. But that, that's not too bad, really. For Beartick not even having any speed boosts, he managed to take down a Skarmory all by himself, so I'm not even mad about that. This turn, I'm going to send in Mantine, maybe try to set up another Tailwind as Braviary gets matched up against him. I was thinking I could take any one attack he went for, but I forgot that these things often carry Rock Slide, and of course, that's going to obliterate my poor Mantine probably several times over. So now that Mantine's down, I'm going to swap into my Swalot here, which is still asleep after I rested back all my HP. He's going to go for the Rock Slide, and I'm obviously thinking now that he must be Choice Scarf since he's not varying his attacks whatsoever once he switches in, and he made a forced switch there when he would have U-turned otherwise. So Mega Charizard X is going to come in here against my Swalot. I gotta hope I wake up and I'm able to do something against this thing before he's able to destroy me, which will likely be soon. It is a good thing, however, that he is Charizard X and not Charizard Y, since I'm physically defensive, not specially defensive. And as I said that, I almost got obliterated by the Flare Blitz, but I do wake up, go for the Yawn. Now he has to decide whether he wants to swap Charizard falling asleep in exchange for taking out my Swalot, and it turns out he does not, as he's going to switch, giving me the free turn to rest and recover all my HP for a third time. So Swalot's proving to be a huge thorn in my opponent's side. Actually, that might have only been the second time I got the rest off. I'm not 100% sure. It happens a lot this game, so I lost track of it. So now that I'm asleep, however, he's going to pivot out with Braviary with the U-turn, and now starts setting up with Charizard with Dragon Dance, which was actually a very good play on his part. So I gotta hope I can take this after a +1, and holy shit, I just lived on 1 HP after the Flare Blitz, and he almost died from the recoil damage. I woke up, went for the Yawn, which probably wasn't my optimal play. I should have likely gone for an attack there and finished him off, but he's going to be forced to switch again, not wanting to trade his Charizard in exchange for Swalot. He really wants to keep that Charizard alive, giving me the turn to rest yet again and recover all my HP. So Swalot just being super trolly and kind of doing his job here. So I'm going to swap in my Leavanny against this Florges, knowing he's probably going to want to Wish Pass off to something. And I had actually decided to go for a knockoff this turn, thinking he might bring back in Charizard, and I would have killed it before the Wish had gone off had he done that. But instead he went into Braviary, who gets the Choice Scarf knocked off, and that's not actually ideal for me, since Braviary is already faster than all the Mons I have remaining on my team. This means it's just going to enable him to vary his attacks whenever he's in the field. So that's not particularly great, and the result of that is that I have to sack off my Regirock here, who somehow survives a U-turn at 2 HP, but let's be real, he's basically screwed because since he U-turned out, Charizard's going to be free to attack, go for the Thunder Punch, and that's the end of Regirock. Now I guess that right there I could have swapped into, what do you call it, my Swalot there and predicted him to go for an attack, but I didn't want him to maybe go for a DD or Roost, so I figured I'd just leave Regirock in there the off chance he wanted to do that. But anyway, as I said that, he swapped out against my Tropius, not really sure why, because I'm fairly confident he could have obliterated me, and is going to go for the Wish with Florges here as he brought that into the field, and then proceeds to swap out as I landed a Body Slam and got off a Curse. So now, I'm going to go for another Body Slam here against the Braviary, which he swapped into. The Wish comes true, he gets back all his HP. I did not get the Paralysis, and I get annihilated by the Brave Bird, even at +1 defense from Curse. So yeah, Tropius, without, I'd say, 3 or 4 Curse boosts, is not going to be taking more than 2 attacks very, very often. So anyway, Swalot's going to come in now. He goes for the U-turn. Not really sure why, because all that's resulting in is him taking Rocky Helmet damage, but I guess he just wanted to do as much chip damage to me as he could to give the Charizard perhaps a chance to take me out. But he's actually going to go into Florges now and doubtlessly go for another Wish, which he does, and I'm still asleep here. He's giving me turns to burn off sleep freely without having to use Heal Bell with my Leavanny, so that's nice. Charizard comes in, I wake up, go for Gunk Shot, but I miss! Oh, that was so... The battle would have been 10 turns shorter had I landed that attack, so that's unfortunate, but now he decided to try setting up, and I reveal my 4th move, and it's actually Encore. So as of now, Charizard's officially screwed, because thanks to this combination of Yawn and Encore, he can't break out of Dragon Dance at all. I can just alternate the 2 moves, and he'll either be falling asleep or stuck into Encore. And as long as I don't get too greedy and waste a turn without always having one of them active, there's no way he can touch me. So as you see here, he's beginning to realize that there's no way he can hurt me. I'm free to just start going for gunk shots in the free turn I have every one or two, and go for the yawn again there, making sure that he falls asleep before he breaks out of Encore, and I land a second gunk shot, taking out Charizard. So Swalot beat a Charizard X in a 1v1. You don't see that every day. So now he's down to Braviary and Florges, and I dodge the Rock Slide, go for the yawn, and he's just going to U-turn out of there, not wanting to fall asleep. Gets a crit, does barely anything though, and he's going to swap straight out into his Florges. So this turn I was free to basically go for an attack, since I have a decent amount of HP and don't need to rest yet, so I went for the gunk shot, and holy shit, that did a lot. So that Florges obviously didn't have any physical defense investment, and I'm able to finish him off with a second gunk shot as he went for the wish that turn. So Swalot just coming in so clutch here, just somehow holding his own against these three very dangerous Mons. Braviary is going to come in, try to get the flinch hacks with the Rock Slide on me, and he gets all his HP back with a wish. So he's going to try the YOLO attempt to take me out, goes for the Brave Bird, but I live on 5, very, very luckily. And that was foolish on my part, because instead of resting, I went for the yawn. So, did you just catch that? I dodged a fucking Rock Slide when he could have finished me that turn. That was so bullshit. If I'd been the other guy right now, I would have been very tempted to DC, because that was some bullshit. I went for yawn when I should have rested. It was a misplay, and I should have been punished and KO'd, but I went out to my Leavanny here, and he gets the turn 1 wake up again. I thought maybe I could do a little bit of damage to him, then heal Bell my Swalot before he woke up, but instead he's going to wake up turn 1, obliterate Leavanny, and now Swalot's got to hope he wakes up here before Braviary is able to finish me off. And he's going for the Rock Slide repeatedly, hoping to flinch me out if I wake up, but I dodge it while I'm asleep, just juking out the Braviary twice! What the fuck? That's so outrageous. It's 75% accuracy, and how many have I dodged there? And I'll add that that was my last gunk shot, and it connected, and that won me the game. Swalot essentially clutching out a 3v1 situation against 3 very powerful Mons in Florges, Charizard X, and Braviary, and still somehow coming out on top. So, just let that thing sink in for a minute. Swalot, like, it's so unlikely. Like, the amount of attacks he dodged and the amount of just hacksy bullshit that went on was just outrageous that game. Turn 1 wake-ups, attacks being whiffed at 75% accuracy, just a whole bunch of shenanigans that I somehow emerged on top of. Like, I don't know if I had any right to have won that match or not, because there were a lot of misses and just weird shit going on both sides. But I gotta say props to my opponent for not DCing when he could have, or when he whiffed the Rock Slide on my Swalot when I went for yawn instead of rest. That, for me personally, would have been extremely rage-inducing. But I guess in a way, it's kind of karma for me whiffing the gunk shot on his Charizard when he brought it in and I had woke up that one turn. So I guess everything kind of evened out that game, surprisingly. But yeah, as for Swalot, he's since been retired from this team, proving to be far too effective, way too good than he has any right to be. Plus, I'm going to be honest, I'm never going to have a game again where he does as much as he did this match. Like, he went above and beyond any expectations I had for this set. So yeah, if you want to try the Swalot set out, feel free, but don't expect him to be doing this every game. It's a rarity. That's not to say he isn't useful, thanks to that sticky hold making him immune to knockoff, which means you don't have to run a Mega on your team to absorb those hits, but he's not going to be taking on 3 Mons by himself and winning very often, and let alone getting off, what was that, 4 rests that game, and still waking up from the sleep counter manually without heal bell. Like, that's just really, really improbable. So I hope you all appreciated the unlikeliness of this everything, basically, that happened in this battle, and how rare such an occurrence would be in another game. But yeah, as for my team here, things have since been altered with the exclusion of Swalot. I've since subbed out Regirock and Mantine as well, and brought in 3 new mods to support my Beartic and Tropius, and I'm leaving Levani on the team because it's far too useful to be done with just like that. But the team needs a bit of an overhaul because in the 2 games I've had with this team, the support team has wound up being the ones who do all the work for me. So stay tuned for part 3 of the Beartic and Tropius Chronicles, and perhaps I'll manage to get a match where they actually get more than 1 KO apiece. But with that, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.